Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Walking with Pete. I'm walking home after a long day at the museum where I was studying, doing a bit of research and a little bit of writing for my PhD, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to record another episode and have a little bit of a chat to you guys about what I've been up to for the last week or two. So it's been Easter. The last weekend was Easter, and Easter here in Australia is, I believe it's the first Sunday after the ecclesiastical full moon that occurs in autumn here. So it tends to be the first Sunday after March the 21st. And obviously, if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's going to be in the first Sunday after March the 21st in spring, not in autumn. Anyway, so a little bit about Easter here in Australia. For me, at least, I'm not that religious. So the Easter holiday, which is Easter Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it represents the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So after he was resurrected over that 3-day weekend, that's why Christians tend to celebrate Easter, but because, at least in Australia, the Christianity is probably the most predominant religion, it's a national holiday. So we all tend to celebrate that holiday, and we get a few days off, which is good over the weekend. We get the Friday followed by the Monday as holidays. So for me in Australia at least, Easter doesn't really represent anything special apart from a long weekend, because I'm not really the religious type at all, but plenty of people who are Christians would celebrate Easter and would go to church, definitely on Easter Sunday, but maybe too on Easter Friday and Saturday. And in Australia at least, we have a lot of sort of foods that are associated with Easter. I don't think it's necessarily all Christian related food. For instance, we have a lot of chocolate things. It's really kind of interesting. I'll have to look into why exactly, but there are a lot of chocolate rabbits. So we have the Easter rabbit, which will come and leave chocolate eggs for children. So we can play that game in the backyard where parents will buy a whole bunch of chocolate eggs and then hide them in the garden and have their family over with all the children who go outside at some point and find all of the eggs and then eat them. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe there's a underlying conspiracy that Easter's related to selling chocolate or making children obese or giving them diabetes. I'm kidding. But yeah, so we have a lot of chocolate eggs that will suddenly appear in supermarkets and in shops. Mostly, it's weird, it kind of gets earlier and earlier every year, where as soon as Christmas ends, the shops start stocking all of the Easter-related foods pretty quickly after that. So for 2 or 3 months before Easter, you'll be able to buy Easter eggs, Easter bunnies, which are the rabbits that are chocolate. And we also have here in Australia the Easter bilby. So I think that was kind of an Aussie attempt at using a native animal to represent the Easter bunny, the Easter rabbit, which is not native to Australia. It's an introduced pest species that has done a lot of damage to the land, and for years and years and years we've been trying to wipe out the rabbit, but like the fox and feral cats, it's a big problem. Anyway, so the bilby is a native marsupial that is endangered and on the verge of going extinct. And so we can buy chocolate Easter bilbies in the shopping centres come Easter. And aside from that, another really big tradition, I guess, in Australia tends to be the Easter bun, or the hot cross buns. And the hot cross buns are just a bun, a type of sweet bread that you can buy at bakeries or shopping centres and supermarkets. And it has a white cross on the top of the bun that represents Christianity and Jesus Christ, I guess. But for most Australians, Christian or not, they tend to buy these during Easter and eat a lot of them. And I definitely consider myself one of those Australians because I have eaten way too many this Easter, I can tell you that. And I guess they're kind of interesting because we buy these buns and we put them in the oven, heat them up for about 10 minutes, and then open them up, put butter in them, and that's how we eat them. They're kind of like scones, if you know what a scone is, except you reheat it and sort of make it crispy by using the oven and put butter on the inside. And there's even chocolate Easter buns or chocolate hot cross buns that are starting to become pretty popular. But yeah, I don't really eat any other food in the same way that I eat the Easter buns, and I don't think many other Australians would either, aside from maybe similar kind of buns that you could buy any time of the year. So that's sort of a little bit about Easter. For me, I just went down the coast. I went down to where my parents live, where I grew up, in a town called Ocean Grove. And Ocean Grove's about an hour's drive south of Melbourne. It's right at the opening of the bay that Melbourne is situated on, called Port Phillip Bay. So if you have a look on a map, you'll see there's this really big bay with an opening to the open ocean. It's only about 2 kilometres wide. But Ocean Grove is situated right next to two other towns called Queenscliff and Point Lonsdale on the west side of the bay opening. So I went down there, and unfortunately it was a little too cold to go to the beach, but I don't mind it too much after the hot summer that we've had. And just saw my parents and saw family. My grandparents came down, and my sister and her boyfriend came over, and we had a barbecue, we had a barbie. Typical Australian kind of thing to do. So yeah, aside from that, saw some family friends, and my parents are getting a new dog soon, I think 2 more weeks, and they're going to be getting a new Labrador puppy, which should be really exciting. I love dogs, and my parents at one time or another have always had normally 2 or 3 cats, but also a Labrador, and the Labrador tends to be a black one. You're going to hear some trams in the background as I cross the tram track in the middle of the park. So yeah, that was my Easter holiday. Chilling down there at the coast. I practice a little bit of my languages, so I've been working on my Portuguese and also my French. And I've even started learning a little bit of Icelandic recently, because I have a real fascination with Icelandic as a language and a culture and as a place. I would love to go to Iceland at some point and hopefully live there, even just for a little bit. But we'll see. So yeah, that was my Easter holiday. Hello. It's just some dogs running past with their owner. And aside from that, not much has been happening. I've been trying to clean up my diet. So eat a little bit more healthy in the last few days after Easter. I kind of went on a bit of a binge of all the hot cross buns that I had in the fridge because I didn't want to waste them. I didn't want to throw them out, but I kind of didn't want them to be in there either. So I ate all of those in the last 2 days, which was definitely too many, but they're all gone. So now it's time to eat a lot more veggies and eat healthier and get back in shape. So yeah, anyway, that's this episode of Walking with Pete. I'm almost home, a little bit out of breath because I'm pulling all of the shopping I just went and got back home from the shops, and it's a little bit of an uphill walk. Anyway, well, probably out of shape as well, but yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome day. I hope your English is going well. I hope these episodes have been of use to you guys and that you're learning a whole heap and listening again and again, and it'll only get easier, so keep at it. Until next time, have a good one.